Hi everyone, and welcome to our introduction to careers with this week's focus being retail and hospitality. There are lots of extra resources on our website, the link to which you'll see at the end of the video. Thank you to the students for sending in their questions, and thank you for all of these individuals for giving up their time to answer those questions. So this week we have Sharon from Cafe Track, Abdel and Mel from Billing Garden Centre, and first up, Rich from Sainsbury's.
Yeah, hello everybody. So I'm Rich Higson and I work for Sainsburys and I run the big store at Sixfields in Northampton.
So first question, what was your first job and what path did you take to get to the job that you're in now? And that's from students at Sainsbury School.
Right, my first job. So I worked in a laboratory making prescription contact lenses. So a bit different to what I do now. And the path I took, so I worked out quite quickly I wanted to do leadership roles or management roles. So I spent some time working in different roles in other organisations. And then about 15 years ago, thought I'd try working in retail. So started at the bottom level in terms of management. And then over the next 5 years, just built myself up in terms of different levels, different experiences. And I was running my first supermarket within 5 years.
Fantastic. Thank you. It's great to hear that pathway. So for someone that's looking for a career in retail, what sort of jobs do you offer and what do they involve? And that comes from Daventry Hill and Isbrook students.
So job-wise, so working in a supermarket, there's various roles that you can do. So working on the checkouts, collecting our trolleys, working on some of our counters, working on the shop floor. Now, because of the pandemic we've had, online shopping is massive. So lots of customers now shop online. So you could be a driver, you could be picking the shopping for people, or you could be on the shop floor replenishing it as well. We have apprenticeships as well. So we do have some apprenticeships that we've run. So currently I've got a couple of colleagues that are doing apprenticeships on merchandising. So that is visual representation of products on the shop floor. So they're doing that on our clothing department. And I've also got a chap that is on an apprenticeship to be a baker. So lots of various roles, but like I say, there are some apprenticeships as well that can support people.
That's brilliant and great to hear. There's a range of opportunities. Now, one of the questions people have is often coming into a job, we don't know anything. So do you give people training? Does it start from a beginner level? And what sort of training do you get?
Yeah, so you'll have an induction. So the induction is 8 hours and it's on your own. So it's all using technology. So you'll sit on a screen or an iPad and literally you just follow the scenarios and follow the questions. And at the end of it, when you've completed your induction, that is the minimum level that we'll give you. Then once you get onto the department you're going to be working on, you'll then get on the job training. Everything is documented, so you have a training roadmap basically. So as you complete your training, you get to sign it off and you can see what's your progress. And then when you're new to the business as well, we'll do a 4-week review and an 11-week review as well. And that's just a catch up. Make sure that you're okay. You can tell us how it's going. We can make sure that you're on track as well and aligned to your training plan. But as I say, you've got this training plan, you'll get the training on job and you'll be able to follow your training and know that you've completed it in the right timescales.
That's fantastic. And it sounds like there's lots of support there as well. So jumping on a little bit, if people were looking to progress, what sort of senior roles can people progress to? And that comes from Daventry Hill School.
So I'll give you an example actually. So my boss, so my role is reasonably senior in Sainsbury's, but my boss started at 16 as a trolley retrieval colleague. So and he now oversees nearly 30 stores, so convenience stores, which are smaller stores, and supermarkets. And we've also got a zone managing director. So that's somebody that sits on our operating board. And he started on tills as an 18-year-old. So the progression is there. The diversity in terms of being able to move around the business is there. But they're certainly the types of roles you could get to in terms of store manager, running a region of stores, or overseeing 200-300 stores as a zone director.
Sounds fascinating and lots of different roles. So in terms of as a store manager, you've obviously got lots of staff you look after, but is there such thing as a typical day for you in terms of what you have to do?
There's a little bit of routine, so I quite like my routine, so there's a little bit of routine, so most days can be very different. However, I'm normally in by 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, where I will walk the shop before the shop opens to make sure I'm happy that the shop has opened, and then once we open to the customers, I then have normally a lot of admin routines, a lot of time on the shop floor, spending time with my colleagues, and I'll do some coaching and supporting and training on the shop floor. And then, unfortunately, at times, lots and lots of meetings. And nowadays, quite a lot of those are on Zoom as well. So I'm kept very busy.
Brilliant. Thank you. A question came in from Red Kite School. Is there a minimum age that people have to be to start working at Sainsbury's?
Yeah, it's 16.
Okay, so 16-year-olds. And are there any qualifications that you need for, an initial role? So if someone's coming into you as a 16-year-old, are there any specific qualifications that you have to have?
No. So basically, it'll be an interview. You'll get an interview over the telephone with somebody first. And depending on how that interview goes, you'll then be put forward to the second interview, which will then come into store and see the team. But there is no formal qualifications you need, no.
And this question's got two parts, really. How many hours a day do you have to work as a manager? And if someone was coming to work for you, can they have a variety of hours? Can people work part-time, full-time?
Yeah, so my working week can be very different. So I'm contracted to 39 hours. I've been here 2 years. So usually when you move stores, you end up working a lot of hours. So certainly a year ago, I was probably working 60 hours a week while trying to get my store in a routine. Nowadays, I do about 45 to 47 hours a week. So it's not too bad. The good thing with that is I can pick and choose in terms of some days I may only work 7-8 hours, but because I need to go home to my children or my wife. But there'll be other days that I might have to work longer, but I can plan that in basically. And in terms of variety of roles or hours that we have in store, so I mainly have part-time roles in store nowadays. So we do have some full-time colleagues working, but generally my workforce, which is nearly 470 colleagues, is made up of part-time hours. And if you think about it, we're open Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we operate overnight. There's lots of different hours people can do.
Brilliant. Now, you might not be able to put an exact figure on this, but one of the questions that always pops up is around pay. Are there different pay rates for people when they start out?
So there's a slightly different pay rate when you first start out, but ultimately, once you're in and inducted, the salary, I can see the question is, what is the starting salary? So if you're a full-time colleague, it's just short of £20,000 currently.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And another question, do you get any other incentives like discounts, or are there any other staff kind of benefits?
Yeah, so you get a discount card, so that's 10% off. It does vary at times. It can be 15, 20% off. So that's good for things like Christmas and Easter, when you can buy lots of chocolate and get it discounted. I get a pension, so probably not worried about your pensions now, but you need to be. So you pay into your pension, so I've got that. And then depending on what level you're at, so at my level, I then have things like private healthcare. I've got a company car, and I've also got a bonus scheme as well, which is then related to how the company's performed. So, yeah, lots of incentives, but it varies at the levels that you operate on.
I love this question because it's a really honest one. And are all companies nice to their rivals?
What a great question. Yes, we'll say yes. So I always want to be the best in town. So in Northampton, there is a lot of supermarkets. So we always want to be the best in town. And I do go look at some of my rivals at times, but it's always very friendly when they spot you and you have a chat with them. So yeah, we're pretty nice to each other.
That's good to hear. And a relevant question at the moment from Daventry Hill. Is COVID making work life difficult, and how have you as a supermarket been able to cope?
It made it really difficult at the beginning, and if I'm honest, exceptionally difficult. You'd have seen people queuing and the photos of people queuing and people being very nervous as well. And what you've got to remember as well is my staff, while the general public were very nervous and were working from home, etc., my team didn't have that benefit and they had to come to work. So it was really hard at the beginning. Sainsbury's has given us lots of equipment to protect ourselves. So we've got screens, we have sanitizer, we have face masks. There's lots that we can do now to protect ourselves, which is great. And if I'm honest, it has got a bit easier, even though we're in, I think this is the third lockdown now. It has got a little bit easier. And hopefully with the date set in June, hopefully it'll get a lot easier for all of us. But in the main, my team have coped fantastically well, and I'm very proud of them.
Brilliant. And, we'd like to thank all the key workers for carrying on going and keeping all those food supplies and much more to us. You touched on this a little bit at the start. What inspired you to work in retail?
So I fancied a change. So basically, I used to be a project manager, and I worked abroad for a while in different countries. That could be a bit lonely on my own. I was also a police officer for a while as well. And I fancied a change. I like leadership roles. I like leading people. I like developing people. And this role, working in a supermarket in retail, was going to tick all those boxes. So I thought I'd give it a go.
Brilliant. And just one final question here. What do you know now that you wish you knew when you started your job?
Oh, what a question that is. What do I know now that, right? I would say that would be, I've got better at it, but listening more at times to my team. Because when you're the store manager, at times you think you know it all, and you think, yeah, let's get on and do this plan. But at times when there's 450 people in here, somebody else has a better idea. So at times I know I have to slow myself down and listen to the better ideas. So definitely, I wish sometimes I'd listened to some of the ideas a bit earlier.
Rich, that's been absolutely brilliant. So on behalf of all the students in the schools, thank you so much for your time. I know you're very busy, but thank you so much.
Cheers. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, my name is Abdel, and I'm on the store manager in the Billing Garden Centre.
Okay, and what was your first job, and what path did you take to the job to get that you're in now? And that's from Isbrook School.
My first job really was with the Royal Mail, and then I wanted to change the experience and go choose a different challenge, and I joined the retail industry, and I joined the garden centre.
So what does working in retail involve, and what kind of jobs do you have? And that question's from Daventry Hill and Isbrook.
Working in the retail really is serving and selling goods to customers mainly. This can happen by interacting with the customers on the shop floor, at the checkout, or by preparing the products in the warehouse. So basically working in the background with the stock.
And for somebody coming into the job for the first time, do you get training on how to get good at the job? And what's that training like?
Yeah, of course. On the first few days, you will get a work buddy. Can show you around how we do things, how things works. It's really easy, really. I believe that is really learning on the job, and getting the practice and the hang of it.
And once you've started working, are there roles that you can progress up to? So if you start off at an introductory roles, can you make your way up the company?
Yes, you can. Yeah. You can start with sales assistants to start with. Progress to a team leader, supervisor, store manager, and you can go even further to regional manager.
So how old do you have to be to work at your company? And that's a question from Red Kite.
16 plus, really, to be able to work in the garden centre.
Okay, fantastic. And are there any particular qualifications people need to start working with you?
Not really. No qualification needed. But you will learn on the job. You will get to practice, and you will gain experience as you go.
For somebody starting off, one of the questions we often get is around how many hours do you work, and can it be quite flexible in terms of that?
Yes, we are very flexible. At the moment, I do personally 40 hours a week, but you can start from doing from 1 hour a week up to 40 hours. Is what suits the candidate and what they feel comfortable with.
Now, this one's always a popular question, and you don't have to give exact figures if you can't, but people are always interested in the sorts of levels of pay that they would get working in a garden centre. So are there typical starting rates that people would start on in terms of pay?
The start is the national minimum wage. 16 years old will get £4.62, £6.56 from 18 to 20, £8.36 for 21 to 22, and then 33 years and over is £8.91. And as you progress in your role, the salary will get higher.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Really useful to hear those figures. People have asked at Daventry Hill School, do you get any other incentives for working there, like a discount or any other bonuses that you get?
Yes, you do get 25% off discount on all the goods, plants, compost, or any garden needs.
And this is a question which I think is a really honest and open one. Are all companies nice to their rivals? And that came from Daventry Hill School. So I'm guessing there's other competitors near you. Are all companies nice to each other?
Not in a nice way. We all do try and be competitive, and that's part of the job. Delivering a better service to gain the customer trust and to keep going.
And this next question is very relevant. Is COVID making work life difficult, and how have you been able to cope? Have you been able to stay open throughout the pandemic?
At the start of the pandemic, it was difficult. We were closed, but we opened in late May. It was difficult to start with, but now it's part of our normal life. And all what we do is follow the rules, washing the hands, keeping the distance, wearing the mask, and working safe.
And a question here, I guess, for people considering, what inspired you to go into work in retail? And how have you actually found that experience since you've been doing it?
I think it's good experience. It's a good choice I did is moving into retail. Every day is a new day, different challenges, experiences, learning new things every day. New ideas.
And this is a really good question from Daventry Hill. What do you know now that you wish you'd known when you'd started your job?
I wish I was more open to new ideas, really. So I can learn more and progress even better.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. That's been absolutely incredible. So thank you from all of the students. And I'm sure students will look forward to visiting and finding out more about opportunities of working with you.
That's great. Thank you.
So we're now delighted to be joined by Mel from the Shaw Trust. And Mel's here to let us know about a particular route of getting into work at the Garden Centre. So Mel, could you tell us a little bit more about the supported internship that you offer at the Garden Centre?
Oh, hi, yeah. Thanks, Tom. So at Billing Garden Centre, we have 5 supported internships that are available to start from September of this year. And within those supported internships, they're for young people under the age of 25 with a current education, health and care plan who would like to work in a horticulture retail environment.
And what kind of things would they be doing on this internship? Is it almost like, an extended work experience placement? Do they get to experience lots of different areas?
That's right, yes. We've got lots of different areas within the Billing Garden Centre. So there's some outdoor work, there's some indoor work, there's operating the till, there's customer service, and then there's also what we call backroom work, which is stock control, rotation, housekeeping, that type of thing.
And Abdel, you've obviously had the chance to work with some of the previous individuals who've been taking part of this. How's that been as an experience for you? What sort of value have these individuals added to your business?
It is a good experience. It's new to me as well, but it is very good experience and refreshing as well. It's great to have these students on board, learning from them, interesting. I learn from them as well.
And Mel, in terms of people, if they wanted to sign up, how do they find out more information? I'll ask that one first and then come back to my second question. So how do people find out more and sign up?
Okay, so on the, you could search supported internships at Shaw Trust, and that would come up with our supported internship page. Alternatively, a direct contact with myself. I'm Mel Walls at shaw-trust.org.uk, and Tom, you've got my contact details. I'm very much within the environment. You could also be going to Billing Garden Centre and speak to Abdel.
And in terms of once people have done these internships, what are the opportunities for them afterwards? Can they progress onto paid employment?
Absolutely, that is the expectation. And just to go back a little bit, Tom, Shaw Trust works from an employment stance, and we work our way back down with young people to where the educational need is. So within our end-to-end supported internship, we have three aspects. We have our employability, which is based at Billing Garden Centre. We provide a virtual classroom to be able to do maths and English, and also employability, which comes with its own Pearson's qualification. So at the very least, at the end of our supported internship, there'll be a qualification. But what we expect is at least 60% of successful completers will go into employment. And that might be with an employer in the local area because of the skills and experience gained through the work with us, or it could be because that young person needs some more support in employment and they remain with us within Billing Garden Centre, and we have a host of supported employment options.
Hi, my name's Sharon Measures and I work at Cafe Track. I am the manager.
So the first question from Daventry Hill School, what kind of jobs do you do at Cafe Track? So what sort of activities would you be doing if you work there?
Okay, there's till work, which is very good. Cleaning the tables after people have left, washing up. There's a different variety of jobs, but it's what you feel comfortable in doing. You never get pushed into doing anything you don't want to do.
So the next question, Sharon, for people that this might be their first ever work experience or job is how do they find out what to do? So the question from Daventry Hill School is, do you get training, and what is this training like? So how do you actually learn to do things?
Okay, you do get training. We take it very slowly. We let you observe the other team doing things. The training that you would be going through would be the till. We take it step by step. There's also the fire safety. There's also the food prepping. Also, allergies are important for training as well, because customers can come in and ask you what allergies there are. And we just take it step by step with you. What you want to learn, we will help.
And that's absolutely fantastic, because it's that reassurance of developing skills as you go through. So when people come to you, you're not expecting them to know everything. So obviously your role is as the cafe manager. So a question from Daventry Hill School is, what do you have to do sort of extra as a manager? So you've talked about what an assistant might do when they first come in, but what do you have to do as a manager, which is on top of that role? Okay,
so I have to open up in the morning. So I get everything set up in the morning. Hopefully I have one of my team with me that I can walk with them and show them what they're doing as well. But also I have to get the bread. I have to go to Booker's. I have to go to Aldi's. Also, I help prep all the food. I help all the staff, and I hope the staff help me as well. I also have to cash in the till, keep receipts. Oh, endless jobs. But then I like to think my team will help me.
Fantastic. It sounds like there's a really good sort of atmosphere and team spirit there in terms of helping and supporting each other. So a question that we had from Red Kite was, how old do you have to be to work at Cafe Track?
16, that's due to law. 16 plus, and the age can go up to whatever age you want to come in and join us, really, as long as you hit 16.
And from that point of view, so you've got someone who might have left school at 16. Do they need any specific qualifications to come in to work for you? So, for example, any particular qualifications from school? So what's your view on that?
No qualifications needed. This is due to that we can help you get qualifications of what you want to do. So no, we don't expect it. But if you wanted to do something for a qualification, we can guide you on the paths that you'd like to go. So this is just the first step for you to decide.
So Sharon, whilst no formal qualifications are needed, are there any skills or qualities that you'd like people to show when they come in, maybe for an interview or a trial shift at Cafe Track?
Yeah, willing to learn different jobs and enthusiasm. Lots of enthusiasm. I like enthusiasm.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Now, our next question comes from Red Kite, and this is a kind of a double question in some ways. How many hours do you work a day? And then if we were coming for a job with you, is there a different amount of time that we could work?
My job entails 8 to 9 hours a day. That's due to opening and closing. The team can do anything between 1 to 6 hours a day, but we are really flexible. As long as we can get you in, that's fine. We just want you to be in the cafe and doing something, even if it's half an hour that you've made that step of coming into us.
And this is always a popular question for people in terms of pay. And I know you might not be able to give exact rates, but if someone was coming to you as a school leaver, what sort of wages could they expect when they're working in either Cafe Track or just a cafe in general?
Minimum wage. This could go up, all depending on age and what qualifications you have as well.
So from that point of view, if someone's maybe got a little bit of experience of working in a cafe elsewhere, that might mean they start on a slightly higher wage?
Yes. Yeah. So we like to take tiny steps.
And this one's always a popular question. Do you get any other incentives like discounts? And this comes from Daventry Hills School. So I guess it's working in a cafe. People might assume there's other incentives, but how do you support people at Cafe Track?
You are offered tea, coffee. You can drink that as much as you like. Plenty of water. It all depends on how many hours you're doing as well. If you're doing the full 6 hours, you will be not entitled, but you would be allowed to have sandwiches and things like that. But it all depends on how many hours you are actually doing in the cafe. But yeah, there's drink, biscuits. So yeah.
Thank you. And I guess it depends on every company will have a slightly different policy when it comes to that. But it is good to hear food and drink always goes down well. So the next question from Daventry Hill School was, are all companies nice to their rivals?
I'd like to think they are. We like to advertise different companies in the cafe, and we just hope that they'd like to advertise us as well, if possible. But I hope there's no rivalries, because that's not the way it should work in business.
And especially within the food and drink industry, I guess, especially in Northampton, there's some local independent chains and some national chains, but actually a lot of them cater for people's slightly different tastes. So actually people can afford to promote each other.
Oh, yeah. There's a certain little cafe that the manager there likes to come to us to have a chicken tikka roll, because she loves our chicken tikka roll. And we like to go to them for their cakes, because they're absolutely gorgeous. So we do support each other in that way, which is nice. And
now we're all talking about food, so I'm feeling hungry. So we'll go on to a slightly different question. So the next question came in was, is COVID making work difficult, and how has the cafe been able to cope with this situation? It has made it very difficult for us, because obviously we've not been open
since last March. We've had a few hiccups on the way, but due to the family of Calf Track, and that's all our lovely customers and our team, we've been doing a virtual coffee, a stand-up bingo, raffles and auctions, and a GoFundMe page just to try and keep us going and to keep the calf safe.
I guess that we're coming towards the end of the questions now, but one of the questions from Daventry Hill was, what inspires you to work at Cafe Track? What about working there? What do you really, really enjoy about working in that setting?
Everything. It is just one of the most eye-opening jobs I've ever had. And all the training, all the different jobs that I have done through my years has all come into one now. And I've found that my experiences have not landed me, but given me this joy of working within a calf and knowing all my experiences that I'm helping and I'm supporting. And everything about the calf is just wonderful. And yeah.
So Sharon, just as a final question, we've got one in here from Daventry Hill School, which is a really open one in a sense of, is there anything that you wish you knew now when you started your job, or what message would you give to people who are just starting out on their career about things they perhaps might not be thinking about at the moment?
Willing to learn. I thought I'd learn everything, but then the pandemic come in, and there's certain other things that you do start to learn. But I feel now that my journey of learning, listening, has brought me here today.
Well, Sharon, thank you for your insight into working at Cafe Track. We really, really appreciate that. And we all look forward to visiting when we're allowed to, when we're open again. So I'm sure we'd like to all say a huge thank you to those staff members for giving up their time. The questions from the students were absolutely brilliant. There's lots more resources on our website, including a guide to Bill and Garden Centre and also a 360-degree tour of Cafe Track. So that's it for this episode. We look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you.